What's up? It's your boy D Change coming at ya with another Daily Dave for Tuesday, April 14th. Do you ever sometimes just hesitate on clicking the buy button? Because that's the story of my life. So, I guess because of the unprecedented supply shortages, a lot of companies are kind of switching gears. A lot of people are stepping up to volunteer to make masks. Companies are making like hand sanitizers or repurposing their chemicals, and it's cool to see that. It's nice to see the progress that's going on because I think in the beginning it felt like nothing was really going on. But because of supply shortages, like stock is really low in general, right? So a lot of times, you'll be on a site and it's like, hey, we got this stuff available, and then I just really want free shipping, like I don't it's really logical because most of the time shipping is only like $5 or $10, and their limits will be like $40 orders, $100 orders. So instead of just like grabbing what I need and feeling like I think we're done, there's always that incentive of like, well, if I make it to that limit I get free shipping, like that bonus. And that that only makes sense when you're actually going to spend that much. Whereas if you end up spending that much, you end up spending $100 at an auto detail website because they sell hand sanitizer in 8-ounce bottles, and then you realize, oh, like I could save on shipping because there's other things I do want to buy, because that's what happened to me. It's just really funny, I guess. I mean, that's why they do it. It works, right? It works to put these limits for free shipping. It works to incentivize people. Different fees have different feelings for people too, because if you really think about it, shipping is rolled into the cost of products on sites like Amazon, any other place that is like free shipping for everything. um so it's just really fascinating to kind of observe buying behavior and how people like perceive it and how people act on it, because my friends and I have all experienced this before. I'm pretty sure. Like everyone's experienced stuff like this before. So I've been trying to keep a more conscious mind of like, spend, you make money for a specific reason, spend it on things that will make your life easier, etc. Right? I mean, of course, I think you also have to come from. I would have to come from a position of privilege to be able to say something like that, because um yeah, like realistically I'm not living like paycheck to paycheck, and I'm not paying rent, and there's all this crazy stuff that like puts me at an advantage, so to speak, right? So I definitely understand kind of the problems with saying things like that, but I think it's a I feel like it's a healthier mentality to kind of move into when you do have the means. Just purely because, growing up, I feel like we're always raised to be frugal. Um, and it's like there's this kind of mindset, like it's really hammered into you to like not spend money, right? But then later on in life, when you can spend money and you don't, like sometimes you have to wonder, like, well, what is it all for, Like there's so, I guess it's really interesting that there's such an like money is so important, right? Because you can have a really unhealthy relationship with money. It can really control your life. It can ruin your life. It can become the subject of too many conversations, the root of all problems, so to speak. But I feel like that only happens if you let that happen, right? So, but it's also dependent on, again, your financial situation and what you're looking for, what your expectations are, etc. So anyway, I was trying to buy some like hand sanitizer, and I ended up adding some like car detailing products to get that free shipping. And I also wanted to support some like independent sellers that were like also selling like beauty products, but they're repurposing their supply chain to like ship out hand sanitizers. And then there's like the people on Etsy who make masks. And I don't know why, but like I think because I still have remnants of this attitude of like, do you really need to buy this? Because it's an appropriate question to ask. Like, do you really need this? And the answer is probably going to be no, right? I'd rather be safe than sorry, though. Like, I'd rather have more hand sanitizer than not. Because if anything, I could give it away. I could, people could use it in the end, right? So I always add stuff to my cart. And then, I'm like, oh, I gotta go check up on something else. I gotta go do work. I gotta make sure I handle this. I come back, some item is sold out, or like the shipping time frame has extended, or the price has gone up, and I'm always like, dang it. So that's my story for today. But this has been, I mean, I've noticed this is something that has happened to me a lot in life. I remember one of the most memorable ones ever was I was still in college, or was I? Maybe it was like right after college, I forget. But I was building a computer, and this was like this I'm pretty sure this was like I want to say it was the second computer I was building in my life, because the first one I built was more like it had to be on a budget because I was in college. I'm pretty sure I started working at this point, or like I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was like an expensive video card. It was the okay, to be fair, every time I buy a new video card, it's the most expensive video card I've ever bought. But this was early on in my process, and so I wasn't used to spending like what was it, like a couple $100 on a video card, which seemed really crazy to me at the time. Um, so we walk into Fry's Electronics, rest in peace. But I walk up to like the box that I want to get, and I legitimately could not decide yes or no. Like I it's terrible because in hindsight I knew I wanted it and I knew I was gonna get it because it was part of like the build list that I had made, but I was having an incredibly hard time justifying it, or like I guess I was just scared or something. I had mad decision paralysis. So I literally like I went there with friends and I literally spent like half an hour just like sitting there like holding onto the box and like looking at it, which doesn't do anything at all, right? Um, and so I remember the anguish of that moment in my life, and how I realized like how silly that was, right? Because in the end, like yes, I had the means to acquire, I had the means to pay for it. It wasn't gonna like it wasn't gonna ruin me or anything like that. And if anything, it was just a luxury purchase that I could stomach, right? But it just felt so difficult to do, you know. Um, Now if you were to present me in the same situation, I'd probably like, as long as I know it's what I want to get, and or like if it's a recommendation from a trusted source, buy it in a heartbeat, dude. So my how things have changed. No, I mean, another problem is whenever I build a new computer, it's always more expensive than the last one. I always want it to be like bigger and better or whatever. So if anything, yes, it's healthy to um have a thought process that prevents you from kind of blowing all your money away, right? Good thing I don't have a gambling problem. Good thing I don't have a lot of these spending problems. So, uh, but yeah, it's interesting because that happened like 10 years ago or something like that, and I feel like to this day, I still, uh, I guess especially if it's something I'm not super familiar with. Like if I've researched something and I know that's what I want, and believe me, I can spend way too much time researching stuff I want to buy. Once it goes on sale or once it like pops up and I'm like, all right, I need it. I can, yeah, easy like Amazon one click buy, like ship that stuff immediately, dude. Like now that Prime isn't delivering in like 2 days or one day, like it's like, come on, like what do you mean I gotta wait till Friday? But yes, of course, there's a pandemic and global supply chain is suffering. So, but yeah, it was just a funny little thought that I had, um, because it ended up happening again today. But again, it's one of those things where it's like as a consumer, you want to have information because that gives you power in the transaction. But you don't want to make impulse buying decisions, right? Which in the end, if I were to evaluate what I did today, they're pretty impulsive, purely because it's like, hey, it's available. You know what? You have a little bit of anxiety. If it makes you feel better, you should just buy it. And that's the moral of the story. If it makes you feel better, you should just do it. Okay? Like if it doesn't hurt you that much, just go ahead and do it. Um, and that's the mentality I am trying to adopt. That's pretty much it. It's like the way I want to interact with money and make purchases is like, is this going to hurt you? As in, like, is this a huge financial strain? If not, okay, is buying this service, buying this product, going to ease your anxiety? If yes, then okay, let's go for that. But I do understand that there's a point where you can where this can get really bad, where you're like, that's why retail therapy is a term. Yeah, if you're purely just buying stuff to just like ease your mind, like, or just because, I don't know. Yeah, that's when I know I gotta go check myself in. At the moment, that's not really the case. If anything, I feel like it's like an act of generosity. Like, unfortunately, I'm not too hot on buying gift cards to restaurants that I really like. Purely because what if the restaurant's gone? And I know that's like such a sad like thing to think about, in the sense of like, you're not gonna support your local restaurant, therefore they'll go out of business. But the reason why you didn't want to support them was potentially because they could go out of business. I get it, um, but yeah, I clearly want something in exchange for the money I'm paying. But at the same time, here's the paradox, right? I've been donating money to like charities that I feel like either have an extended influence on me, or like that I feel like is just a good thing in general. And those are instances of me not receiving anything, like no service, no product, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just I think we're all a little bit on edge. We're all a little bit, our equilibrium has been disturbed. We're all kind of tilted, so to speak. And so th- like, actions like this make me feel like I'm contributing to a greater good. And that's, in a way, that's purely like what it boils down to. There's a lot of behaviors I'm exhibiting where it's like, you know what, we might need this. You know what, like, I want to stock up on this just in case. You know what, they're doing something good, I should donate money to them. That type of thing. Like, that's what's going on right now. So, because at least from what I'm hearing, uh, things aren't gonna go back to like quote unquote normal anytime soon. As in, like, the economy is not gonna like immediately recover. Everyone's gonna get their jobs back and all that. So it's a really crappy thing to think about, but um, it's in a way, this is my way of kind of contributing, so to speak. Like, I wanna help, right? So I also sometimes feel like just donating money and buying stuff is like lazy too, because I'm okay with being lazy. And it's just like, hey, let me just throw dollars through the screen and we're set, right? Whereas if you ask me to volunteer, I'm gonna be like, I don't know, man. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. No, but that was one thing I actually wanted to look into this year, prior to the pandemic. I wanted to find an organization to like volunteer for, to kind of just, I don't know. I mean, you could argue it's purely to meet chicks, but it's always the best, because it's never for any other particularly creepy reason. No, but I think that's like practicing generosity is kind of like a muscle I want to work on. I was gonna say flex, but then I'm like, wait, that's a meaning that I'm not trying to convey here. But yeah, I would want to practice like service to a community, service to a people, and I guess meet like-minded people in that sense. So yeah, that was kind of that was on the books in a way. Not really, but it was on my mind, and then now we can't go out and do that stuff. And in a previous episode, I was talking about like things I was thinking about for this year as well. But I mean, life happens, it's the way it is. So anyway, I hope I don't devolve into pure retail therapy. I've been checking my credit card statements, and I think my spending is still like at normal, if not reduced levels. Granted, I am the one going to the grocery store all the time now. Like I'm fronting all the costs for stuff like that, and I don't mind. I'd rather do that. Also, I get points for the for the grocery store. Anyway, maybe I have an unhealthy relationship with money. Oh man, this is probably why people don't talk about money that much, because then it kind of yeah, it's involved in so many things that it kind of makes you wonder sometimes, like, wait, what kind of a person are you? No, but anyway, I wonder if any of you have experienced stuff like this, or have any funny money stories, so to speak. Transactions, man. That's what this in a way, that's what life is filled with. Yeah, filled with transactions. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this talk, or this monologue. Yeah, this was the Daily Dave. Thanks for watching. Peace out.